Men over 60, I want to say this as clearly as possible. If you keep eating these 5 common nuts, you could be slowly destroying your erections, and you won't even realize it's happening. Not tomorrow, not next week. But little by little, bite after bite, you're steadily cutting off blood flow, reducing testosterone, and harming the very core of your sexual health. And the worst part, you probably think these nuts are good for you. I'm Dr. Girag Mihai, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 20 years of clinical experience. I've helped thousands of men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s reclaim their sexual vitality. What I'm about to reveal may shock you, just as it surprised them. Here's the reality. Not all nuts are created equal. While some can enhance blood flow and testosterone, others, particularly the ones you see in colourful packages or flavoured mixes, are secretly working against you, day after day. And unless you know which ones to avoid, you may never feel as strong or confident in the bedroom as you should. But here's the good news. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 5 nuts to cut from your diet and what healthier options you can choose instead to naturally support firmer, stronger erections. And stay tuned, because I'll also reveal the single worst nut of all. One I now call the silent erection killer. It's found in almost every pantry in America, probably yours too. Before we dive into the list of these 5 harmful nuts, be sure to click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss out on more critical tips to protect your erections and overall health after 60. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me create better videos for you. All right, let's begin. The first nut you need to be cautious with is a staple in nearly every snack bowl, and often mistaken for a healthy choice. But for men over 60, it can quietly undermine your circulation and lower testosterone without you even noticing. Let's talk about cashews and why they may be the sugar-coated trap that's silently weakening your erections. 1. Cashews, the sugar-coated trap. Cashews are one of the most misleading foods in today's American diet, especially for men over 60. You see them everywhere, smooth, buttery, indulgent little bites that seem like a healthier alternative to typical snacks. Many older men reach for cashews, thinking they're making a smart choice. They're tasty, they look wholesome, and they're often marketed alongside heart-healthy options. But what if I told you that beneath that rich flavor lies a hidden danger to your erections? Here's the truth. Most cashews on store shelves today are far from natural. They're usually roasted in highly processed industrial oils, like canola, soybean, or sunflower oil, and coated with salt or sugar to extend shelf life and boost flavor. These oils don't just add extra calories. They trigger inflammation throughout your body, including the delicate blood vessels that supply your penis. When these vessels become inflamed, they lose flexibility and the ability to expand properly, and that's a serious problem. Strong, healthy erections rely on clean, flexible arteries that can deliver a surge of blood on demand. Without that, you're left with weaker, slower, or even non-existent responses. Now, let's talk about sugar. Many popular roasted cashews are flavored with light sweetness, honey roasted, maple glazed, or cinnamon dusted. These options may sound harmless, even comforting, but even small amounts of added sugar can spike your insulin levels, especially as you age. And what does that do to your testosterone? It spells trouble. Chronically high insulin promotes abdominal fat, suppresses natural testosterone production, and shifts your hormone balance toward more estrogen and less androgen. That's the exact opposite of what any aging man needs to stay vital and sexually confident. I've worked with patients, men in their mid-60s and 70s, who were doing nearly everything else right. They exercised regularly, took their medications, and tried to maintain a clean diet. But they had no idea that their nightly handful of sweet roasted cashews was slowly chipping away at their bedroom confidence. One man even said to me, "Doc, I thought I was making a healthy choice. I gave up chips and ice cream for this." But when we looked more closely, his inflammation markers were elevated, his testosterone was low, and his nitric oxide levels were steadily declining. Once we removed the flavored nuts from his diet and reintroduced healthy fats from better sources, his energy and his erections started to return. Even unsweetened, dry roasted cashews can cause problems if they've been processed at high temperatures or with low quality oils. The high heat used to make them shelf-stable damages the beneficial fats in the nut. This leads to oxidation and the creation of harmful compounds that silently damage your endothelium, the delicate lining of your blood vessels. Imagine tiny cracks forming in your plumbing system. At first, nothing seems wrong, but over time, the flow slows down and eventually becomes blocked. That's exactly what happens to the arteries supplying your penis. They gradually narrow and stiffen, restricting the blood flow needed for strong, lasting erections. So, should you completely avoid cashews? Not necessarily. If you really enjoy them and can find truly raw, organic cashews, unsalted, unroasted, and free of added oils and sugars, you can enjoy them occasionally, but they should never be your primary nut of choice, and certainly not the kind you find in shiny packaging with sweet or salty coatings. If you're serious about improving blood flow and protecting your erections, this is one food you should limit or avoid altogether. Now, if you think cashews are deceptive, just wait until you hear about the next nut. It's even more common, found in nearly every pantry in America. And it's not even technically a nut. Yet it contains compounds that can lower testosterone, trigger inflammation, and harm your sexual health at the hormonal level. This one surprises nearly every man I meet, even those who think they're eating clean. Let's talk about peanuts. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, hit the subscribe button and type 1 in the comments to let me know you're here and committed to protecting your health. All right, let's continue. It's time to reveal the second nut you should avoid. 2. Peanuts. The silent hormone disruptor. Peanuts are the ultimate imposters. They appear at every party, in every pantry. And for many men over 60, they've become a daily habit. From peanut butter sandwiches, to protein bars, to trail mixes, peanuts are everywhere, familiar, convenient, and comforting. But here's what most men don't realize. While peanuts may be cheap and satisfying, they are quietly undermining your hormones, harming your circulation, and steadily eroding your sexual vitality, your erections. First, you need to understand that peanuts aren't actually nuts, they're legumes. And legumes behave differently in your body, especially in your gut and bloodstream. While peanuts do provide some protein, they come with hidden costs that older men can't afford to ignore. Peanuts are notorious for containing aflatoxins, naturally occurring molds that thrive on crops stored in warm, humid conditions. These toxins are invisible, tasteless, and undetectable unless tested in a lab. But once they enter your body, they put immense stress on your liver, promote systemic inflammation, and have been linked to reduced testosterone production and impaired fertility in men. Just think about that for a moment. Something as seemingly harmless as a spoonful of peanut butter could be placing a hormonal strain on your body, gradually diminishing your sexual strength. And it doesn't end there. Peanuts are also very high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6s aren't inherently bad. Your body needs some of them for healthy function. But the problem lies in balance. When your diet is loaded with omega-6 fatty acids and lacking in omega-3s, the kind you get from fatty fish or flaxseed, it creates a state of chronic inflammation throughout your body. And that inflammation doesn't just affect your joints or digestion, it directly impacts the delicate endothelial lining of your blood vessels. This is where nitric oxide is produced, the compound responsible for relaxing and expanding your blood vessels to allow blood to flow into the penis. When those vessels become inflamed or stiff, blood flow slows, erections weaken, and spontaneity fades. Now, let's talk about peanut butter. Most commercial brands are packed with added sugars, hydrogenated oils, and emulsifiers. These ingredients aren't added for your health. They're used to improve texture and extend shelf life. But for your body, they spell disaster. Added sugar spikes insulin, promotes fat gain around the midsection, and lowers free testosterone. Hydrogenated oils encourage plaque buildup in arteries and further impair blood flow. Together, these factors create a perfect storm for erectile dysfunction in aging men. I've had many older patients tell me, "Doctor, I eat peanut butter every day. It's my comfort food." But what they don't realize is that this comfort often comes at the cost of their capability. Their blood tests reveal low testosterone, elevated inflammation markers, and declining vascular function. And once they eliminate peanuts and peanut products from their diet, remarkable changes begin to happen. Their waistline shrinks, morning erections return, overall energy improves. Not because of a miracle, but because they removed a silent hormone disruptor they weren't even aware of. What's even more surprising is that peanuts contain compounds called phytoestrogens, plant-based chemicals that can mimic estrogen in the body. For older men, whose testosterone is already declining, this further disrupts hormonal balance, leading to fatigue, low libido, and emotional flatness. So while peanuts may seem harmless, even nostalgic, for many men they represent a slow, steady erosion of masculinity. The damage doesn't happen overnight, but over the months and years, peanuts can rob your body of the hormonal and vascular strength needed for a satisfying sex life. If you're consuming peanuts or peanut butter daily, now is the time to reconsider that choice. And if you think peanuts are bad, just wait until you hear about the next nut on the list. It's marketed as exotic, elegant, and heart-healthy. But when roasted the wrong way, it becomes a cholesterol trap that clogs the very arteries your erections depend on. Let's talk about macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts have an elegant reputation. They're promoted as luxurious, heart-friendly, and packed with healthy fats. You'll see them in gourmet snack blends, upscale health stores, and fancy gift boxes. On the surface, they seem like the perfect nut. Smooth, rich in flavor, full of monounsaturated fats that support healthy cholesterol levels. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For men over 60, especially those dealing with low energy, circulation issues, or sexual concerns, roasted macadamia nuts can quietly turn from a treat into a threat. Most macadamia nuts sold today aren't raw. They're roasted, often in bulk, using processed seed oils like soybean or canola, and they're frequently heavily salted. While small amounts of raw macadamias may offer some benefits, the roasted versions tell a different story. Once exposed to high heat and inflammatory oils, those once healthy fats begin to degrade. This leads to oxidation, a process that forms harmful compounds which silently damage your vascular system. And yes, that's the same vascular system responsible for delivering blood exactly where it needs to go during intimacy. Now, let's take a closer look at the arteries that matter most for sexual performance. The penile artery is extremely small, just 1 to 2 millimeters wide. That makes it one of the first blood vessels in the body to show signs of blockage. Long before a man develops chest pain or other heart symptoms, he may notice softer erections, delayed arousal, or even a complete lack of response. Roasted macadamia nuts, packed with oxidized fats and excessive sodium, can worsen this situation. Over time, the inflammation caused by these oils damages the endothelium, the inner lining of your arteries, reducing your body's ability to produce nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is the key to unlocking blood flow, allowing the penis to engorge and stay firm. Then there's the salt. Many older men already struggle with elevated blood pressure, even when it's being managed with medication. Adding extra sodium to your diet, especially from snack foods, increases vascular resistance and forces the heart to work harder to circulate blood. This additional pressure narrows the arteries and further restricts blood flow, making strong, spontaneous erections increasingly unlikely. The most troubling part? You often won't even realize it's happening. There's no pain, no clear warning, just a slow, frustrating decline in bedroom performance. I've had patients who switched to macadamia nuts, thinking they were making a smart, healthy choice. One man in his 70s told me he was eating a handful every evening, believing it was good for his cholesterol. But his energy was down, and he hadn't had a solid erection in months. He couldn't figure out why. When we looked more closely, his daily intake of oxidized fats and sodium from roasted macadamias and other so-called healthy snacks was quietly undermining his circulation. When he replaced those snacks with raw, unsalted nuts like walnuts and pistachios, things began to improve. Within weeks, his blood pressure dropped. His morning erections returned, and his overall vitality noticeably increased. There's also the matter of cholesterol, something most older men monitor carefully. While raw macadamia nuts can support healthy cholesterol levels when consumed appropriately, the roasted varieties, especially those combined with processed oils and salt, can contribute to unhealthy lipid profiles. Inflammation, oxidation, and vascular stress all combine to further damage arterial health. And as you've seen by now, poor artery health is at the core of nearly every case of erectile dysfunction in men over 60. So the takeaway here isn't that macadamia nuts are inherently bad, but that how they're prepared and consumed makes all the difference. Roasted, salted, oil-coated macadamias are a trap. A tempting, crunchy little cholesterol trap that can quietly choke off blood flow to your most vital organ. And when that happens, no pill or quick fix can reverse the long-term damage. But we're not done yet. If you thought macadamias were risky, the next nut on our list raises the stakes even higher. It's often marketed as a super nut, rich in selenium, and praised for supporting fertility and thyroid health. But in the wrong amounts, it can become toxic, directly suppressing testosterone, harming sperm production, and triggering full-blown sexual fatigue. Let's talk about Brazil nuts. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Now let's continue. It's time to reveal the 4th nut that could be quietly damaging your erections. 4. Brazil nuts, the selenium time bomb. Brazil nuts have earned a reputation as a superfood, and with good reason. They're one of the richest sources of selenium in the world, a mineral that's essential for thyroid function, immune health, and yes, even sperm production. On the surface, Brazil nuts appear to be a smart choice for older men looking to stay strong and vital. But the reality is much more complex and far more dangerous than most people realize, especially for men over 60 who are already walking a delicate hormonal tightrope. Brazil nuts may not be helping. In fact, they could be quietly sabotaging your sexual health. What makes Brazil nuts so unique is also what makes them risky. A single nut can contain over 90 micrograms of selenium, already more than 150% of your recommended daily intake. Eat just 2 or 3 a day, and within a week, you could be reaching toxic levels. Your body does need selenium, but it stores it poorly, and too much can quickly turn from helpful to harmful. The early signs of selenium toxicity aren't always obvious. Symptoms like fatigue, mental fog, irritability, and brittle nails are common first indicators. But the deeper, hidden cost lies in how it affects your hormones, your vascular system, and ultimately, your sexual performance. In men, too much selenium has been shown to interfere with testosterone production. It can also throw off the balance of other vital minerals, such as zinc and magnesium, both critical for male sexual health. Over time, this imbalance can lower free testosterone, reduce nitric oxide synthesis, and dull your body's natural arousal response. You may notice lower desire, less energy, and when the moment comes, your body simply doesn't respond the way it once did. I had one patient, a retired engineer in his early 60s, who came to me frustrated and confused. He had started adding Brazil nuts to his morning routine after reading online that they could boost testosterone. He was eating 4 to 5 Brazil nuts every day, thinking he was doing something good for himself. But instead of feeling stronger, he began to feel sluggish. His sex drive dropped, his erections became unreliable, and his blood work revealed a concerning decline in both testosterone and sperm quality. When we examined his diet and completely removed the Brazil nuts, his hormone levels slowly stabilized, and his confidence returned. There's another danger: selenium overload's impact on the thyroid. For men over 60, thyroid health and sexual function are closely connected. The thyroid regulates metabolism, energy, and the balance of key sex hormones. When it becomes stressed by too much selenium, everything begins to slow down: libido, stamina, and your ability to maintain an erection. And once your thyroid falls out of sync, it can take months to fully reset. Now, to be clear, selenium itself is not your enemy. In the right amount, it supports sperm health and fertility. But with Brazil nuts, the margin of safety is razor thin. 1 or 2 per week is likely fine for most men. But daily consumption, especially in larger quantities, can quietly drive your system into hormonal imbalance. And that imbalance will show up first where men fear it most: in the bedroom. The most troubling part: most people have no idea this is happening. They believe they're eating healthy, they trust the labels, they think they're supporting their body, when in reality, if you're over 60 and regularly eating Brazil nuts, you may be unintentionally damaging your erections, disrupting your testosterone, and slowly shutting down the very systems that keep your sexual health alive. And now we've reached the final nut on this list. And it might be the most dangerous of them all, not because of the nut itself, but because of how it's processed. You'll find it in bright, colourful packaging sold everywhere, from gas stations to grocery stores, bursting with flavour, crunch, and preservatives. But behind that flavour lies a toxic mix of oils, chemicals, and sodium, capable of choking your arteries and stealing your erections faster than anything else we've discussed. Let's talk about flavoured mixed nuts. Chapter 5. Flavoured mixed nuts. The erection killers in disguise. Out of all the nuts on this list, this final category is without question the most deceptive and the most dangerous for your erections. Flavoured mixed nuts. You've seen them everywhere. On grocery store shelves, at gas stations, in vending machines, and tucked into gift baskets. They come in flashy packaging with bold claims like sweet heat, smoky barbecue, honey roasted, maple glazed. They look fun, smell tempting, and feel like a satisfying high-protein snack. But for men over 60, these flavoured mixed nuts may be one of the biggest hidden threats to your sexual performance. And they're something many men casually toss into their shopping carts without a second thought. The danger isn't just the nuts themselves. It's what's been done to them. These are not raw or naturally roasted nuts. They're heavily processed, soaked in industrial seed oils, loaded with sodium, packed with sugar, and coated in artificial flavorings that do far more harm than good. And the damage doesn't stop at your waistline. These nuts directly impact the 2 most critical systems responsible for maintaining strong, healthy erections: your cardiovascular system and your endocrine system. Let's start with blood flow. Every erection begins and ends with circulation. If blood can't reach your penis, it simply can't perform. And what restricts blood flow? Inflammation, high blood pressure, hardened arteries. Flavored mixed nuts create a perfect storm of all three. The processed oils used, especially soybean, corn, and canola, are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Too much omega-6 throws off your body's inflammatory balance, contributing to stiff, narrowed arteries over time. The exact opposite of what you need for smooth, responsive blood flow during arousal. Then there's the salt. Some flavored nut varieties contain over 300 milligrams of sodium per handful. For older men, especially those already managing blood pressure, that's like adding fuel to the fire. Elevated blood pressure doesn't just strain your heart, it also chokes the tiny arteries in the penis, which are far more sensitive than those in your chest or legs. Many men don't realize that erectile dysfunction often shows up years before any signs of heart disease. It's an early warning system, and if you ignore it, you're taking a serious risk. But it gets worse. These flavored nuts are often coated with ingredients that sound harmless, but act like toxins inside your body. Chemical preservatives, such as BHT and TBHQ, are added to extend shelf life, but they've been linked to hormone disruption and even cellular damage. Additives like MSG and artificial smoke or bacon flavorings can be neurotoxic for some people, disrupting your body's natural hormone regulation. All of this affects your testosterone, your sexual desire, and your nervous system's ability to trigger and maintain an erection. And don't forget the sugar. Whether they're honey roasted or glazed with maple or brown sugar, these nuts send your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride. High blood sugar damages your nerves, reduces nitric oxide availability, and suppresses testosterone production. Over time, this leads to fatigue, low libido, difficulty achieving or maintaining an erection. It doesn't happen overnight. It's subtle and cumulative, which makes it even more dangerous. You won't feel it happening. You'll simply start noticing that things in the bedroom aren't the way they used to be. And you'll wonder why. I've seen this pattern again and again. A patient comes in and says he's cut out soda, fried foods, and desserts. But he's still snacking on flavored mixed nuts every night while watching TV. He thinks he's making a healthy choice. But his blood pressure is up, testosterone is down, and his erections are fading. Once we remove those flavored nuts and replace them with better alternatives, the changes begin. His circulation improves, his strength returns, and so does his confidence. So, if you're serious about protecting your sexual health, these flavored mixed nuts need to go. They're not innocent. They're not helpful. They are, quite literally, salted, sugared, oil-soaked packages of erectile dysfunction hiding in plain sight. But don't worry, this isn't about taking food away. It's about making smarter choices. So now that you know what to avoid, let's talk about what you should be eating instead. Because certain nuts can actually enhance blood flow, boost testosterone, and support erections naturally. If you know which ones to choose, let me show you. 6. So, what should you eat instead? Now that we've covered the nuts you should avoid, let's switch gears and focus on the ones that can actually help restore blood flow, support testosterone, and protect your erections as you age. Because here's the truth. Not all nuts are your enemies. In fact, some can be powerful allies, if you choose wisely and eat them in their most natural state. The key is understanding that it's not just about the type of nut. It's also about how it's processed, how often you consume it, and whether it helps or harms your circulation and hormonal health. Let's start with walnuts. If there's one nut I consistently recommend to older men who want to improve their sexual health, it's this one. Walnuts are rich in L-arginine, an amino acid that naturally boosts nitric oxide levels in your bloodstream. Nitric oxide is what relaxes your blood vessels, allowing for better blood flow to the penis during arousal. The more available nitric oxide you have, the easier it is to achieve and maintain an erection. Walnuts are also packed with antioxidants and healthy omega-3 fats, which actively fight inflammation. Unlike the omega-6 heavy nuts we discussed earlier, just a small handful of raw, unsalted walnuts each day can help support better circulation, lower blood pressure, and promote overall cardiovascular health. Another excellent choice is raw almonds. These are loaded with vitamin E, magnesium, and zinc, three key nutrients that directly impact testosterone production, nerve health, and blood flow. Vitamin E is particularly important as we age because it helps protect the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries. That's the very tissue responsible for releasing nitric oxide and keeping your blood vessels flexible. When this lining becomes inflamed or damaged, everything from blood pressure to erectile function begins to decline. Almonds also help regulate blood sugar, which is critical, since elevated glucose levels can disrupt both hormone production and nerve sensitivity. Again, the key is to eat them raw and unsalted. No honey glaze, no added oils, no artificial coatings. And then there are pistachios. Believe it or not, there is actual clinical research showing that men who eat pistachios daily experience measurable improvements in erectile function. One study found that after just 3 weeks of eating a small handful each day, men saw firmer erections, improved blood lipid levels, and greater satisfaction in the bedroom. Why? Pistachios are rich in antioxidants, plant sterols, and arginine. They promote vasodilation and help guard against oxidative stress, one of the key contributors to blood vessel damage over time. They're also one of the lowest calorie nuts, making them a smart choice if you're also watching your weight. So what do all three of these nuts have in common? They're whole, raw, and free of additives that cause inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and vascular damage. They don't come in shiny, flavored packages, they're not soaked in salty oils, and they're not coated with preservatives or sugar. They're as close to nature as possible. And that's exactly what your body needs if you want to keep your sex life strong and vibrant into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. I can't even count how many older men I've seen regain their confidence, energy, and bedroom performance just by making simple changes like this. They didn't need a prescription. They didn't need an expensive supplement. They didn't need an embarrassing conversation at the pharmacy. They simply needed to stop feeding their bodies the very foods that were quietly undermining their erections and start nourishing them with foods that heal and restore. Because the truth is, food is never neutral. Every single bite you take is either fueling your ability to perform or slowly shutting it down. And once you're in your 60s, your margin for error becomes much smaller. Your body needs the right kind of support. Clean, unprocessed foods, rich in the nutrients that promote blood flow, hormonal balance, and vitality. Now, if you've been eating the wrong kinds of nuts for years, don't panic. The damage isn't permanent. The human body is remarkably resilient, especially when you remove what's blocking it and give it what it truly needs. Damage can occur quickly, sometimes within weeks, but so can recovery. It all begins with awareness and then taking action. And now that you know what to avoid and what to embrace, there's one final piece I want to leave you with. Because even if you clean up your diet, there's another silent habit, something millions of older men do every day, that could still be sabotaging your erections without you realizing it. In the next few moments, I'll show you exactly what that is and how to stop it before it's too late. 7 final thoughts. If you've made it this far, it tells me something very important about you. You care. You're not someone who's willing to give up or accept decline. You're someone who still wants to feel alive in your body, in your mind, and in your relationships. And I want you to know, as someone who's spent over 20 years helping men just like you, it's not too late, not even close. What we've discussed today may seem like small things: cashews, peanuts, macadamias, Brazil nuts, and flavored mixed nuts. they're just snacks, right? But when you look deeper, they're actually symbols. They represent choices, habits, quiet decisions we make each day, without fully understanding their long-term impact. For men over 60, these choices matter more than ever. At this stage of life, your body is no longer able to tolerate the same abuse. It needs care, it needs precision. And more than anything, it needs nutrition that supports blood flow, hormone balance, and healthy sexual function. I've seen the difference this can make. I've seen men walk into my office feeling ashamed, exhausted, unsure of who they've become. And I've seen them walk out months later, stronger, more energetic, and proud of what they've rebuilt. Not just physically, but emotionally. Because this isn't just about sex. It's about what sex represents. Your vitality, your confidence, your ability to feel connected, and your sense of purpose. We live in a culture that often tells older men to step aside, to fade quietly. But I don't believe in that. I believe this chapter of life can be every bit as full of power, passion, and possibility as any other. If you treat your body with the respect it deserves and feed it what it needs to thrive, you now know which nuts to avoid and which to embrace. That might seem like a small shift, but over time, it can mean the difference between decline and renewal. So here's my encouragement to you. Take this knowledge and put it into action. Start small. Swap out the flavored snacks for raw, whole alternatives. Read the labels. Be intentional. Every good choice builds momentum. And every step brings you closer to the energy and intimacy you deserve. You've got more life ahead, more love to give, more strength inside you than you may even realize. Don't let hidden ingredients steal that from you. Take your health back, one choice at a time. And as always, I'm here to guide you, because every man deserves to feel like himself again. Stay strong, stay sharp, and never stop fighting for your vitality. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share.